Being a passenger engine, Emily never took much notice of the goods trains. She thinks that she can handle goods, but it turns out she's not. Another reason why she mostly pulls passengers is because they're much more simple, whereas goods trains they're a bit more heavier and troublesome to handle, which succeeded Emily's limits. Today, however, she heard quite a commotion. Arry, the ironworks diesel, was collecting trucks of scrap bound from the smelters. He clattered around, shoving the trucks roughly. "Come on, gotta move on," said Arry. We won't go," said the trucks. "We don't like to be treated like this. I don't care. Let's get moving," he rumbled. The trucks were very cross. They slipped on their brakes, and Arry came to a halt. "Grrr," he growled. "They will come quietly if you give them a gentle touch," Emily advised, trying to be helpful. "Pa," snorted Arry, "I'm not taking tips from an antique like you. I bet you never pulled trucks before." "I'm a passenger engine. I'm sure they're quite similar." "Nah, that's rubbish. They're different. Trucks are more troublesome than passengers. Besides, you will learn the hard way once you pull them. Besides, you gallivanting off pulling those boxy things called coaches and leaving the real work to real engines." And with that, Arry roared off with the trucks clattering and banging behind him. Emily was furious. "I would like to teach that diesel a thing or two," she scoffed. "If only I could." "Oh yes, that's exactly what I am going to do." The next morning, Emily arrived early at the yards. The scrap trucks were scattered around the sidings. Emily gently buffled up to one. "What's going on?" groaned one truck. "You're not our engine." "I saw how that diesel treated you yesterday," smiled Emily. "And I thought you would like to know how real engines take care of trucks." Emily pushed the truck gently forward. The truck was taken aback and stayed silent. She brought it carefully to a halt, its buffers just nudging those of the truck behind it. "Right then," said Emily, "let's get the rest of you sorted." Now Emily isn't as strong as the other engines. The trucks were loaded with heavy, rusty steel, and she had to work hard to get them moving. When Arry arrived, he was speechless. "A gentle touch seems to do it this time. And what do I know? I'm not a real engine," winked Emily, and she left to find her coaches, leaving Arry cross and fuming. "Come on, let's get moving," said Arry. "We won't go," said the trucks. "We want Emily." "Oh, great. This is not going to end well," said Arry to himself. And indeed it did. Over the next few days, the trucks behaved more badder than before, and Arry was having a hard time getting them along down the line. It wasn't long until Arry hatched a scheme on his own. "I was wrong," he said when he saw Emily. "You are a proper engine, and I have much to learn." Emily smiled triumphantly. "Do you think you could take these trucks to the smelter's yard? They don't want me anymore. They are like your own little army. Please show me how you do it." "Of course," smirked Emily. "I'll show you how to handle them." Perhaps if Emily hadn't been so conceited, she might remember she wasn't built for goods trains. She backed down onto the coaches and tried to move forwards. Her big wheels had trouble gripping the rails, and the trucks were heavier than ever. At last, she began to move slowly out of the yards. "It must be my lucky day," smirked Arry. "Now Emily will learn." Out on the main line, Emily was not enjoying herself. It was hard working keeping the trucks moving. Emily was approaching Gordon's Hill, but the trucks were behaving well, which is a good thing. But just as they thought things were becoming easier, she reached the top and begins to coast down the other side. She felt the weight of the trucks on her buffers and the train picking up speed. "Oh no, that cannot be good," she cried. Her wheels couldn't get a proper grip, and her brakes weren't strong enough to hold the trucks. Stop, 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 she wailed. And that's when it happened. Hold back, said the trucks to each other. Much to her surprise, Emily found herself slowing down. The trucks had slid their brakes on, bringing the train back under control. At last the line grew level, and the train came to a halt. Her driver inspected her brakes. That's darn it, they're worn out. I'm afraid I'll call for help. Boko came to pull Emily to the works and take over the train. On board Boko was the Fat Controller. He came to see her. Emily, I know you're eager to be useful, but you should have known a train like that was beyond your capability. I'm sorry, sir, she said. I just wanted to show Arry a thing or two. The yard manager told me all about that, smiled the Fat Controller. He was quite impressed with your shunting. You may not be able to pull any goods trains, but I know your expertise can be put to good use. Emily smiled. Arry was later found out, and he was confined to the yards under the Fat Control's orders not to leave until he learns Emily's ways of shunting. Needless to say, the topic of real engines never came back up again.